Hello there everyone and welcome back to some more Playing with Subscriber Cross, and today what we have here is Her Majesty's New Zealand ship BOFUR by Boom Boom Shake the Room. Who even names himself that? I actually want to know that, and it reminds me of the Beep Beep I'm a Sheep song, but I'm not gonna sing it because I have a voice of a crow. Let's roll the intro. So welcome. We have the BOFUR here. This is a mainly cram cruiser ship, which is around 140k, 134k resources, but I think it used to be 100k, and increase after the missile changes because Nick, what the fuck missiles. This thing is a tame 14,000 volume, moves at around 17 meters per second, and has quite the decent turn radius, although not a ridiculous turn radius. It's like a normal everyday cruiser, how it should be. And again, this is my fleet coloring scheme because no one bothers to tell me their fleet coloring scheme, so it is gonna stay red and black. I would have tried to match it to the screenshots, but the new painting system UI, what the hell? They're too tiny. I need magnifying glasses for those. Well, I can scale up the UI, but if I do that, the other things get too big, so it is staying black and red. And this time we will actually be starting with the weaponry. It has very little amounts of frag missiles in the front. Nowhere else could I find any kind of missiles. It has autocannon turret spam everywhere. I guess those are the cruiser secondaries. There are 10 autocannon turrets and each of them has 4 autocannons, so that's 40 autocannons in total. And I like how the smoke is not following the chimney. Instead it's gonna blaze this autocannon up. And then we have 9 of these big 1832mm explosive cram cannons. I think those are explosives. No, those are kinetic and explosives, and have some fuses in them, which is, to be honest, kind of the best kind of cram. I have never found a use for fragments crams. They kind of seem underwhelming, but then I have only used crams once in my life, and that was back in Bamboozler, which was a bad cram which could not aim. So I am not here to judge the crams. They reload pretty fast at 18.75 seconds, are pretty big, and go pretty fast for cram standards at 173 meters per second. Now let's look at the internals. Nick has made it so much easier for us to do that. And our delivery of a BOFUR has arrived. Look at that majestic thing. It's a color coded for the gauge increasers cram cannon, which is mostly explosive and a little bit hard. That totally did not sound right. Reloads quite fast. In the back we have a decent amount of propellers, while in the front we only have 2 turning propellers, but I guess for a ship this size that is quite okay. And then we have 2 more of that same cram cannon pasted like this, and the neck increased a little bit using connectors. Those are connectors. Yep, connectors. So no gauge messing up. I always use gauge increasers instead of connectors to elevate the necks, and that messes up my things. Then we have 2 ammo boxes pretty down the waterline. We have a resource box protected with stone and metal. I don't think resource blocks are that necessary to protect, but who knows? It might just be expensive now. Material storage. Nope, they're not expensive at all, so I would personally not place them in the Citadel because that space can be used up by something important instead. And we have here for the Citadel a metal, a stone for this one, a metal, a heavy armor for the ammo box, and there is wood beneath. Why? You know, you should not. This might blow up the ammo box. I would suggest adding some heavy armor in the floor of the ammo box as well, just to be safe. Or maybe I just armor things way too much. Who knows? We'll see in the testing. Then there is the LAM system, which is honestly quite big. We have some LAM nodes straight above the bridge. Way above the bridge. We have some LAM nodes. No, we don't have. Yes, we do have some LAM nodes in the back. No peripheral LAM nodes because we have the LAM nodes in the bridge and some LAM nodes in the front and in here. So yeah, nicely distributed LAM nodes. Let's see about the range of the LAM nodes. I should really start checking those because they really do matter. Okay, LAMs have many more settings now. They can target specific diameter projectiles, target all projectile types, no underwater targets. Wow, this was needed, devs. It's a really good thing. Range below which to engage 100. That is a very good LAM, I tell you that. And then there is something that is intersecting with something, so I really cannot read it. And now let's check out the armoring scheme, and hopefully we'll find the engine as well. The LAM defense. Let us know the strength of these things. It's 84 continuous damage with 7 kilometer range and 150 AP. And then there is 4,950 pulse damage with 86 AP. So it's a mixture of continuous and pulse laser LAMs, and I think that is gonna work pretty great. Although the amount of storage cavities in this thing, so this is really meant to fire for a long time. Laser frequency doublers, so many of those. And then there is missiles, the changed missiles. I won't comment on the missiles because I don't think he has updated this craft after the missile thingy, the missile update. So side armor is 2 layers of metal, an air grab. Then there is the Citadel, 1 layers of metal and heavy armor. Stone for the resource box, I guess. There's some AI physical connectors with general processing cards as well in here. So yeah, that is not completely a wastage of space, but it still is a wastage of space. But then that is alright, I guess. And then there is these AIs, and some of them are red. Are those colored red? Yeah, those are colored red. I thought they were disconnected, but then I realized they are just colored red. And then there is this engine. How did I not notice this engine? Or I might have noticed the engine and forgotten. So these are carburetor engines with turbochargers. So this is going to be an efficient one. Let us check. 182 power per unit at 100%. That is pretty decent efficiency, and I like that. And then there is a buffoon of fuel right in the back. So yeah, pretty medium side armor, pretty medium low armor, 3 layers of bottom armors, 2 layers in some places, and then the deck is, oh, that's surprisingly thick. A wood, a metal, and a wood. Oh, I think a metal and a wood and a metal. Yeah. So 2 metals and a wood sandwich in between. So some EMP protection here and there. Some metals, but I don't think this laser compartment is EMP protected. So this thing kind of needs some surge protectors. I would look into the EMP protection. And this battery compartment in here. Oh, I didn't notice this. So there is a battery compartment in here where another laser system is here. What? I am confused. I am very confused. I don't think so. This is, I guess, a little bit extra power for lamps just in the middle, and a backup in case this gets damaged. So yeah, just a small laser buff to the lamps. I also noticed just now that this is a shieldless design. Interesting. Alright, AP shells, and I am going a little tamer on this thing this time because I honestly do think that this does not deserve 10 8-meter shells at once. It is not meant to fight that kind of thing. So yeah. Well, that still went from under there and went through the entirety of it, and that was one shell. That was one shell. Let's fire around in here. Okay. That went through straight. Of course, it's a shieldless design. AP is gonna go through straight. Yep, straight where I wanted it to go, and that AP shell was actually stopped. Wow, that is some surprisingly hard armor there. I guess because of the HE in there. Let's shoot 2 shells. Okay, 2 shells kinda did go through. But then there was this stone layer. It's not that far. Oh! That shell was destroyed by the lamps. That is interesting. Yep. Shells are getting destroyed by the lamps sometimes. But then sometimes the shells are going through. Oh. Right where I wanted it to go, and even with the heavy armor in there, the ammo is gone. And look at this. Let's move on to heat. Heat. 1 shell at a time. That kind of did nothing. Wow. The lamps are surprisingly good. Against these shells, I guess the AP shell had much more HP to it. Shell health 4, while shell health for this thing is 0. So yeah, the heat shells are getting wrecked by the lamps, so we need more fire speed. That is actually quite a good lamps, and I think shell health used to be in hundreds or thousands, but now they're in 4 or 5. What? I am confused. Wow, those are 8-meter shells, bro. Those are damn 8-meter shells. Okay, finally getting bombarded little by little by a heat. And let's see what that has done to this. Well, the excess explosive damage did create a hole in there, but the heat itself kinda did nothing. So, pretty heat proof, I would say. Well, yeah, the heat is pretty ineffective against it. Hash shell health 1, so better than the heat at least. Why do you keep nerfing heat, Debs? Alright, a fully repaired buffoon. Bofur. Hash! Oh, that was too much of a hash, but some hash shells did get blown off, but not as easily as the heat shells. So yeah, I would say this is not as hash proof, but that was a lot of shells. So yeah, still nice resistance against the hash. Shell health still 1, so everything is gonna get melted by the lamps. Oh boy. Oh, okay. No. That was too much frag. That was, wow. Frag still melts stuff. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Frag still melts stuff. But a few frag shells did get destroyed by lambs, but then the frags are set up to bombard the ship even if they get destroyed. So yeah, frags OP. Frags OP indeed. And the lamb system gets charged pretty quickly. I noticed that by the sounds of the engine. So yeah, it's a pretty nicely made craft, I gotta say that. EMP, you say? I am skeptical about the EMP. It might destroy a few stuff in there. Oh, the EMP was destroyed. We need more firepower. Alright. Let's see what that did. Yep, that destroyed the local weapon controller, so it killed this massive cram cannon. So yeah, EMP protection indeed needed, as I suspected. This thing is kinda susceptible to EMP. Oh, that was too much EMP, but then, yeah, look at that. All those local weapon controller going down with EMP, hence all those weapons are dead now. And as I suspected, yes, Boom Boom Shake the Room, you do need surge protection, at least near your local weapon controllers. Then there's the hollow point. Oh boy. What is gonna be the shell? 3. Oh boy. I love hollow points. I gotta tell you that. Hollow points for you. Oh wow. That peeled this thing up like an onion. Look at that. No questions asked. Hollow points are the best shells against unshielded targets. Look at that. It just peels layers of armor off this thing. And now for the thing that I always wait for. This is an unshielded target. We have grav rams. Let us see what happens. Wow! Every time, this never stops to cackle me up. And look at that, this thing is quite heavy. I did not notice that many propellers under the ship. So yeah, it reveals something good at grav rams. It's always funny. Now we'll turn you into submarine if we have grav rams left. That is, no, we fired everything. Bamboozler, meet Bofur. Bofur, meet Bamboozler. Both unshielded target, one sitting at 100k, the other sitting at 140k, but I think that's pretty close. The missile changes messed up the resources a little, but I think they are pretty close to each other in terms of power, so we will see who wins and who doesn't. I honestly don't have any hope for the Bamboozler. Commence the battles! And those new missiles, goddamn, they actually do look like missiles now. So, explosive hard crams coming straight towards the Bamboozler and bamboozling the Bamboozler by blowing up the front, completely chipping off one of those main turrets. But then those are really badly made turrets. They are supposed to chip off like that. And the Bofur. Why do I keep remembering buffoon? The Bofur is getting bombarded by those measly shells, which are almost doing nothing, while those missiles are all gone because of the lambs. But they did manage to spray this thing with enough frags that it has a crater in it now. And the buffoon, God damn it, Bofur is getting bombarded by even more frag, while the Bofur has finally shot its second volley, and the Bamboozler doesn't have a butt anymore. Oh, actually that's not the butt, that's the face. Wow, the Bamboozler actually turned itself over. The power of recoil. The power of recoil at a really high point from the center of mass can really tip off your craft, and those cram cannons did hit, but they did not manage to go through the main components. And since the Bamboozler is almost completely made out of wood, it will not sink. It is impossible to sink this thing. The crams are actually going for the AI, while the Bofur is getting shredded by all that tiny frags. More crams for the Bamboozler. Well, they are kind of going underwater and they are kind of losing effectiveness there. The Bamboozler is hurt pretty badly and the Bofur is hurt pretty badly as well. The thing is, the lamps of the Bofur are pretty good at deleting stuff, but when the stuff is made out of frag, even after deleting, the frag does get sprayed onto the Bofur. That's the problem. That's why you need shielding. Okay, what blew up on what? The Bofur is at 91% while the Bamboozler is at 82%. It's not looking good for the Bamboozler because big cram cannons on WoW. Okay, the turret's gone. Great. The Bofur's course of not yet. The missiles are left. Oh, the AI is gone. Nice. The Bofur was indeed aiming for the AI, and the wooden box that's protecting the AI was not really protective. I did not know how to build stuff back when I built this thing. Even look at the engines, they're made in 4 parts. Let the fight commence! And the Wyvern is shooting big fat shells. Tracer shells. Wow, when did it switch to tracers? I did not know, but it is shooting hollow points, hollow HEs towards the Lancer. I mean, the Bofur, and it is quite weak against those shells. And the Bofur getting demolished by those shells. At least I hope it would, but the lamps are surprisingly demolishing every single shell thrown by the Wyvern. While the Wyvern, I think, is gonna take all those lamps to the... Oh! I forgot the Wyvern has ridiculous lamps as well, so it only managed to take 1 of those cram shells, while the Wyvern desperately trying to bombard the Bofur with its heavy shells. And some of them are indeed making in. Head shells, hollow shells, everything going into the Bofur and ripping the insides. They're both at quite the same power level. Ow! Seriously. While some of the crams did manage to hit the Wyvern, but I think the ultra thick armor of Wyvern will shrug it off like nothing happened. And another hit to the Bofur. While the Wyvern, for some reason, has stopped shooting. Let's check it out why. So many autocannon shells flying towards the Wyvern. That is surprisingly effective, even with shields. Both ferocious cruisers fighting against each other, deleting each other's shells. Who will win? Who will win? Who will win? Let's find out. Lambs losing power against the Wyvern shell, hence more and more shells reaching the Bofur. This is not looking good for the Bofur. While the Wyvern is at 98%, the Bofur has come down to 88%. Half of this caused damage could have been easily negated with shielding. And now the crams are shooting frag shells? What? Wait, what? And the crams bounced off the shields. More missiles for you, dear BOFUR. And I do think the BOFUR's lamps have taken a bit of damage because, yes, the lamps aren't even working anymore. EMP missiles have reached the BOFUR and damaged the lamp system, and now it is time for the BOFUR to go to sleep. Yeah, shielding and EMP protection added to the BOFUR will increase its cost by like what? 3,000, maybe 4,000 resources, but will increase its survivability insanely. And the BOFUR rolls down to sleep in its grave. Surprisingly not sinking yet. And the BOFUR is at 50%, so it is officially deemed as dead. It is surprisingly still not sinking. It's just like a fish. Even death cannot sink it. It will just show its belly and rise up the water. So yeah guys, that was Her Majesty's New Zealand ship, BOFUR, a pretty great ship with resistance to all kinds of damages except frag and hollow point, and ridiculous lamps only being hurt by non-existent shields and no EMP protection. I tell you, boom boom shake the room. Add some shields and EMP protection and this thing can go far into the campaign. There is no doubt about that. And with that, I'll end the video here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this video. Like this video if you liked it, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And if you want to submit your own craft or check out other crafts like this, join our Discord server. We have a lot of fun there. Links are in the description below. I'll be seeing you guys in the next one.